guys, it's Jennifer Nichole here, and today I am sick. I have a cold, and my husband was kind enough to give me some NyQuil last night, so I'm feeling a little bit better. But today I'm going to be showing you a growth to glam makeup tutorial, showing you how I apply my makeup and what I do when I'm sick. And I just don't want to look like I feel, so if you guys want to see that, then just keep watching. Okay, so now I have already got my face just kind of depuffed by using cold water in the morning. It really refreshes your face, and it's just a little bit, you know, just nicer, less red, all of those things. I'm just going to take a little bit of the Simple Micellar water, and I'm going to clean off the mascara underneath my eyes because there's a little bit of residue still. That is the one thing I always struggle with, is getting all of my mascara off at night. So I let it through in the morning and take whatever else off that needs to be taken off, and then I'll just lightly cleanse the rest of my face just to make sure it's extra clean. So I had an allergic reaction to my moisturizer, so I'm just going to be using the Rose Water Glycerin moisturizer and the ordinary buffet serum to moisturize my skin. And I sprayed in a very generous amount just because my skin is extra dry. I always have dry skin, but then when you're sick it tends to just get even more dry. Now I'm just taking about half a dropper full of the buffet, and I'm just going to pat that into my skin. And then I just fan it and let it dry and kind of settle in, and everything just absorb into my skin. So the rose water is actually really tacky, and so it works really well as a primer. So I'm just going to go straight in with foundation, and I'm taking the Tarte Hybrid Light Sound Foundation. Okay, so now I'm just going to take a little bit of setting spray just because this foundation tends to slip a lot, and I'm just going to use it and buff it in. This is really light coverage right now, and I do think I want a little bit more of a fuller coverage, so I'm going to definitely be building this up. Do a combination of just pressing the product in, and then I'll swirl it after it's kind of evenly distributed on my face to really just buff that product into the skin. But first I just want to make sure that the product is pretty evenly distributed across my skin. No, I mean, you can just take however long you want to eat. Okay, so now that I've finished just buffing it into my skin, you're such a punk. Josh is just waiting to slam the door so he could be loud. So I just buffed it into my skin. Now I'm just going to go in with some concealer. And the same thing, when you're sick, you really just do not want to keep those germs forever. So I just put some on a palette or on the back of your hand. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit of concealer, brightening everything up slightly. Then I like to take a little bit more setting spray on my brush. And I don't do this with every foundation, I just do it with this one because it does slip so much. And then before anything creases or settles, I'll just take the setting spray and spray it on my face. And once again, just let it dry down. So this foundation, like I said, is a little bit more difficult to work with because it does like to slip. But it's just, I just love the finish of it. It just makes me so happy that I continue to use it because it does have a little bit more of a dewy finish, and I just think it's just a really, really pretty finish. It's a little bit more on the satiny side, so it's not too dewy. You don't look like a grease pit, but at the same time, you don't look super dry. Okay, now to set my face, I'm going to take a little bit of this RCMA No Color Powder. This is definitely not my favorite powder. My favorite one, the Rimmel Stay Matte, is in the car, so I'm just going to use this. It's a fine powder. I just feel like I tend to crease a little bit more with this powder than I do with the Rimmel Stay Matte. I know I'm going crazy with setting spray, but I'm just going to do one last little spritz because it helps set that powder down. And now this foundation should actually stay when it normally just falls right off my face. Okay, so now for blush, I'm going to mix these two. This is the Wet n Wild Rose Champagne, and it's a very nude, a little bit more on the bronzy shade. And I think this would look very beautiful with people with a little bit more of a deep skin tone, just because it has a little bit of that orangey peaches sheen. It's not too dark for me, it's just, I don't love the shade on my skin tone, but it is very neutral. And this other pink one is way too bright, So when you layer the two together, I think it just looks a little bit better. So I'm taking this Imark, it's actually an eyeshadow, and it's in the shade Luvstruck, and I'm just going to apply that on top of the nude blush. Okay, so now that I've applied that more peachish, that pink blush, I'm going to go back in with the nude blush, and I'm just going to layer it on top. And that has been the theme of today, layer, layer, layer. It's really just about creating the look that you want to, and sometimes you can layer a lot. Sometimes there's one product that you just love the way that product looks, but if you have a few products that you just aren't in love with, try pairing them with other products, making different combinations, and you might love the way that it looks. So now that I have applied all of that, I am just going to move on to my eyebrows. Okay, so now on to the brows real quick. I'm just going to apply them.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side.
So one brow is done. I'm just going to do the other side. Okay, so now I'm just going to comb my brows up. You're so sneaky. My husband is about as sneaky as, like, in the Grinch movie. He's stealing the Christmas tree, and then there's, like, all these ornaments are falling off, and he's shoving it, and he's just, like, insanely loud. That's about how sneaky Josh is. Next, I'm going to be playing with this new palette I got from Tarte, and it is the First Love Tartelette palette. So we're just going to be playing with this and kind of creating this look. If you guys could see, like, the real life that goes on behind here, Ella's throwing things. There's so much stuff I'm going to have to edit out of this video. I'm just applying this first shade, Glaze, all over my lid. And then it is a little bit dark, but I'm still going to bring it all the way up to my brow bone, just because we are doing a more fall smoky-ish look, so it's okay if it's a little bit warmer and darker than my natural skin tone. I love the way these shadows blend and apply. Now I'm going to go into Playful, and I'm just going to tap that and put it in the crease of my eye. Taking a little bit more of Playful and applying it again in the crease of my eye, all the way across.
No, I don't wanna waste what's left.
Build it up a little bit more and then just buff it out a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to take this shade Snuggle here, like this little snuggle bug right here, and I'm just going to tap a little bit of that on a more defined brush and just put it on the outer corner of my eye.
Till I get up, time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left.
Okay, now I'm going to take this shade Touch, and I'm just going to take it with my finger and apply it all over my lid from the center toward the inner portion of my lid. This is such a vibrant shade. I really love it. It is a bam in your face shimmer. It is very pigmented and just smooth and really nice. I really love the way that it looks. Then I'm taking this shade right here, Hotline, and I'm just going to tap off a lot of that excess, and I'm just going to blend those shades together. Just using Hotline as the mediator, a little bit of a buffer in the relationship, and just gonna buff it right in. Okay, so now for the lower lash line, I'm going to take a little bit of Playful on this smudge brush and smudge it under the lash line. Now for the inner corner, I want something a little bit more vibrant, so I'm going to take the Modern Renaissance palette, and I'm going to take this shade Primavera, and I'm going to pop that in the inner corner and a little bit on the lower lash line. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to align my lids. Now personally, I don't like to do a cat eye very often just because it takes a ton of time. As you can see, this side of my eye droops quite a bit. It will be all covered in the sides. It's really hard to make it look even with that eye drooping so much. So I will do it every now and then, but it's not really my go-to eyeliner. I prefer just kind of creating a line across the lid, making the lashes look a little bit thicker and sticking with that. The L'Oreal Lash Paradise Mascara, and I'm just going to apply that on my lashes and just help lift, lengthen, and curl them. Okay, so just applying mascara on the other side. And then I'm going to do it on both my lower lashes. So as far as lip goes, you have two different options. You can have something that's going to last, you know, through blowing your nose or whatever you need to do. Or you're going to have something that's going to come right off, but it's more moisturizing for your lips. Often when you're sick, all the moisture is kind of sucked out of you. So because I don't need something to last all day, I'm going to opt for a lip gloss. But if you're going to a wedding or something when you're sick and you really need it to last, then in that case you might want to stick with like a more liquid lipstick that's going to really last and settle on your lips. So I'm just taking the Avon Sparkle Glazewear in this shade Latte Mocha, and I'm going to apply that. Okay, so I'm just going to do my hair and then I will be right back. Okay guys, I brushed my hair out and it is still a little bit of a mess, but this is it, the final look for this video.